Welcome back to Mac Music Review. I review it so you don't have to. Today we're going to be looking at an album, but before I hop into the review, just want to say there's going to be some stuff down in the description. If you want to know how the channel works and all that good stuff, you can find all the info down in the description. Today we're going to be looking at the album Supermodel by Foster the People, and this is the album cover. This is the sophomore album for the alternative pop band kind of Foster the People. It was nearly as commercially successful as their debut album Torches. It didn't have some monster hit like Pumped Up Kicks, but it did have a small hit, Best Friend. You may have heard this song before if you listen to alternative music, because it was a small hit from the album. And I think I was in Dairy Queen. No, I heard another song from this album, Are You What You Want to Be, the first song, the other really upbeat song in this album. I heard that in Dairy Queen. I thought that was so cool that they were playing this Foster the People song in Dairy Queen. That wasn't Pumped Up Kicks. Anyway, yeah, nearly as commercially successful as their debut. This album is a good bit longer than their debut album. It has 11 tracks, and really it only has 10 songs, because one of the songs, The Angelic Welcome of Mr. Jones, is really just kind of this instrumental vocal. There are no lyrics. It's just like an interlude for the song Best Friend. I think it plays right before Best Friend. So really there's only 10 full-length songs in this album, but every song on this album is over 4 minutes long, and actually a few of them are more than 5 minutes long. I'm talking about Nevermind, Goats and Trees, and pseudological Fantasia or something. It has a really weird title. The one that's really trippy. The one with the trippy title and the trippy music and the trippy lyrics. Musically, this album, I would say, is less upbeat and fun than Torches. You are going to have that kind of overabundance of musical sounds and elements thrown in all at once, where they, that's Foster the People's thing, is just kind of overloading on musical elements, just mashing them all together in a very noisy way that somehow doesn't sound disorienting, but if you really listen very closely, you realize there's just a whole bunch of stuff all going on at the same time. Kind of haphazardly is what it sounds like. If you're paying attention. If you're just casually listening, you don't really notice it, I would say. But, Are You What You Want to Be and Best Friend are, really upbeat songs. They're really upbeat, energetic songs. But the rest of the songs in the album are a little bit different. A Beginner's Guide to Destroying the Moon is a pretty energetic song, an energetic rock song with some strong guitar lines, some strong bass guitar, and some really kind of hectic, energetic music. But it's not really in a fun way. It's more in a kind of dark way. It's not a very fun sounding song. It's more of a song that's trying to kind of grabs you and shakes you, kind of rattles you up. And then you have Fire Escape, which is an acoustic song. It's the only acoustic song I think Foster the People has ever done. And it's literally, there's no other music. It's just Mark Foster with a guitar and like a campfire. He's just singing. Just his voice and a guitar, singing slowly. And it's a very stark contrast from like basically everything else the band has done. It's very different from all their other music. Lyrically, Supermodel is by a long shot the most dense thing they've ever done, the most dense, focused thing they've ever done. Throughout Supermodel, you can see from the album cover, in the album cover, it's a girl. I guess she's a supermodel, I guess she's a model. She has her head draped down, she's bent down, and there's all these people with these snake-like arms taking pictures, and she's standing on a bunch of gold, but even though, she's getting all this attention, she definitely doesn't look happy. And the whole album is about trying to find, it's a pretty heavy album, really, if you listen to the lyrics. It's about the search, it's about the artificialness of life, about how fake everything is, how fake people are, how fake music industry is, how just the general fakeness, and it's about searching for truth. And throughout the album, it's actually, he's on a journey on the album, and he starts off searching, wondering what is the truth, and then he finds it on the last two songs, Goats and Trees and The Truth, and then on Fire Escape, he's basically reflecting on how hopeless and depressing everything is. Once you realize that without the truth, how everyone is, and just how broken and fake and artificial everything is, the world is. It's honestly some pretty heavy stuff. If you really listen to the songs in order, each song is kind of part of a story, part of revelations of Mark Foster trying to figure out what is the truth, what's real, and it's interesting. What I've read on Genius is that it all starts, the first 4 or 5 songs, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 songs are kind of just this, kind of in general, just him looking around, like coming of age is about, like growing older and realizing things. Or you want to be an ask yourselfers where he's asking questions. And Nevermind as well, he's asking questions, just trying to figure stuff out. And then with Pseudological Fantasia, he basically goes on a drug trip. And like a lot of people, they say going on a drug trip can help them find meaning in life and help them find what they think is truth. And that's what it does for him. And in the song, he comes to this revelation that his friends, his best friends, are fake. And that they're not actually real. And they're not actually real people that are out for him. And then it gets to the very dark, A Beginner's Guide to Destroying the Moon. And then he goes and finds truth. And then, like I said, it ends on Fire Escape, where he basically reflects on what he's found. And it's very dark, very haunting. I think this album is amazing. I think it is really, really good. And I'm going to try to break down why. The music on Supermodel is really, really good. I mean, just musically alone, this is a great album. Like, it doesn't really, Torches was musically very organic, original, interesting, tons of fun. But there were a few songs, the slower songs, you just kind of get like, I don't know, they weren't bad, but they were kind of slow, and they weren't the most memorable, most fun thing, not really something you want to come back to. But basically every single song on this album works so well. They sound so good. The 2 really upbeat songs on this album, Are You What You Want to Be and Best Friend, work very, very well, especially Best Friend. Because there's so little of these really upbeat, energetic songs, I think it gives them more power, more oomph. And that's especially true of Best Friend. That is a totally awesome song. Just sounds really cool. It's a lot of fun. It just sounds great. Beginner's Guide to Destroying the Moon also sounds excellent. You have some really dark music on this thing. It's really intense, and the song progresses, and the vocals on this song are really impressive, because vocally it's not the best song on the album, but it's definitely a standout because of just the energy and the intensity that Mark Foster, and he has this other guy sing, probably someone else in the band, for part of the song, and that's also a lot of intensity. And the actual lyrics on this thing, I don't have the lyrics on me, but they hit you, man. If you're actually listening to the lyrics, it's intense. I mean, this is the most, well, actually I'm saying this is the second most intense song. We're going to get to their most intense song on my next review, but this is like their second most intense song, and it's really, really good stuff. Musically, really impressive. And then the song that just absolutely is amazing musically. I think nearly all the stuff on this album sounds great. Pseudological Fantasia, the drug trip song, makes you feel like you're on a drug trip. Excellent psychedelic music. Super excellent psychedelic music. The lyrics and Mark Foster's performance work perfectly to create this drug trip atmosphere that just kills it. This song is one of their best. Really, really good music, lyrics, vocals, all that stuff. But just musically, I have to talk about Fire Escape. It's totally stripped back, just a guitar and singing, and I think it is the most effective song Foster the People has ever done. I think it's the best song they've ever made. It's fantastic. It's haunting. It's dark. It's really simple, but that makes it so much stronger, so much more powerful. You feel every single line. You feel, and his vocals and the lyrics, and it's just an amazing song. That is a really, really good song. Lyrically, this album is really impressive. I mean, there's a lot of It's not just, he's not just simply saying all these things. There's tons of really poetic lyrics and really poetic lines that are really, really good. Are you what you want to be has a really fantastic line about, and also worth noting, there is some religious elements in this. Most of it is not super overt. Most of it is kind of hidden. But if you're paying a lot of attention, especially on the first song, you are you what you want to be, you detect some religious elements. And on the truth he comes to, I think the truth he tries to find is God. And I think he does end up thinking that God is this ultimate truth that he's searching for, even though he doesn't directly say it. But other lines on the album, this is an album with super, super well-written lyrics, really interesting lyrics, very mature lyrics. It's just lyrically very, very good stuff throughout this album. The psychedelic song has excellent psychedelic lyrics and imagery, really fantastic imagery that really sticks in your head and that really is really striking. On Goats and Trees, that's also some really strong lyrics that are really interesting, and The Truth, and so much of this. The whole album is extremely well written, really fantastic lyrics and themes across this album. Supermodel is really, really, really impressive. I think this is an amazing album. I think it's by a long shot. I mean, not by a long shot. I would say it's definitely the best Foster the People album, but their debut is so good. Their debut is so, so good. But this album, it definitely trumps it lyrically. Musically, it's got some really, really great songs. I'm going to have to give this album 4.5 stars out of 5. It's amazing. Thank you for watching the video. What is your favorite Foster the People song? Mine is Fire Escape. I just can't get over that, man. It just gets better and better. It's such a good song. My favorite is Fire Escape. What's your favorite Foster the People album? Mine is Supermodel. They're doing a new album, and I'm calling it, it's going to be their worst album, because the single released for it, Style, is so lackluster. Worst Nights, just lyrically, it's just, both of those songs are lackluster. Musically, they're okay. They're going in a wrong direction. Yeah. But this is a great album. Thank you for watching.